So this is our energy flow in the ecosystems video number 2, and this one's going to focus on the carbon cycle. Alright, so carbon can be found in the environment through abiotic and biotic elements. An example of an abiotic element would be coal, natural gas, or fossil fuels. And the carbon is put into those abiotic elements through sort of a recycling program. Through our detrifores and our decomposers, they take that carbon out of other energy sources and in the environment, and they break it back down, and it goes back into the carbon cycle. And then our biotic elements. So our animals and our plants, they absorb carbon, they release carbon, and they contribute to that cycle and that sort of recycling and that balance of those elements in our environment. So let's look at an example of the carbon cycle. There really isn't any place to sort of start, because you can see it is a cycle. But I'm going to start with the sun, our abiotic element that is giving its energy to our producers through photosynthesis. So our producers, our vegetation, our plants are getting their ability to produce food from the sun. But I've got photosynthesis here, and then I've got plants here. So I just wanted it in 2 places, but don't get confused because they're connected. So through that photosynthesis is just our foundation of sort of our flow, our pyramid. Animals then can consume that carbon from that photosynthesis, and then they can release that into the atmosphere when they die. Our decomposers are those detrivores, those organisms that break down the plants and the animals and other materials and put them back into the earth. So then they create our fossil fuels. Our fossil fuels are then extracted from the earth into our vehicles and manufacturing, which then through that process they are releasing carbon into our atmosphere, and then the carbon that's in our atmosphere is absorbed through our photosynthesis or our plants, right? So we can see how it sort of continues to go. It's not a perfect circle, and some things kind of jut off, but there is this cycle. And again, it's all about balance. If we have less photosynthesis, if we have less plants absorbing the carbon and more producers of the carbon, then we have more carbon in the atmosphere, and that means we are not maintaining that element. That means that the balance is off, and that's not good for our ecosystem.